Good morning and welcome to the Knowing Show. I am your host, Christene Marie. Y'all, we are going through lesson 104 today. It is crazy to think that we are on day 104 of the year. And I'm going to start with a few review lessons, and then we are going to move through today's lesson and then chat about it for a little bit. We are reading through A Course in Miracles. Lesson 91, Miracles are seen in light. Lesson 92, miracles are seen in light, and light and strength are one. Lesson 93, light and joy and peace abide in me. Lesson 94, I am as God intended, or as God created me. I am oneself, united with Christ. Lesson 95. Lesson 96, salvation comes from my oneself. Lesson 97, I am spirit. Lesson 98, I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. Lesson 99, salvation is my only function here. Lesson 100, my part is essential to God's plan for salvation. Lesson 101, God's will for me is perfect happiness. Lesson 102, I share God's will for happiness for me. Lesson 103, God being love is also happiness. Lesson 104, I seek but what belongs to me in truth. Today's idea continues with the thought that joy and peace are but idle dreams. They are your right because of what you are. They come to you from God, who cannot fail to give you what he wills, yet must there be a place made ready to receive his gifts. They are not welcomed gladly by a mind that has instead received the gifts it made be where his belong as substitutes for them. Today, we would remove all meaningless and self made gifts, which we have placed upon the holy altar where God's gifts belong. His are the gifts that are our own in truth. His are the gifts that we inherited before time was, and that there will still be ours when time has passed into eternity. His are the gifts that are within us now, for they are timeless, and we need not wait for them. They belong to us today. Therefore, we choose to have them now, and know in choosing them in place of what we made, we but unite our will with what God wills and recognize the same as being one. Our longer practice periods today, the hourly 5 minutes given truth for your salvation, should begin with this. I seek but what belongs to me in truth, and joy and peace are my inheritance. Then lay aside the conflicts of the world that offer other gifts and other goals made of illusions and witnessed to by them, and sought for only in a world of dreams. All this we lay aside and seek instead that which is truly ours, as we ask to recognize what God has given us. We clear a holy place within our minds before his altar, where his gifts of joy and peace are welcome, and to which we come to find what has been given us by him. We come in confidence today, aware that what belongs to us in truth is what he gives, and we would wish for nothing else, for nothing else belongs to us in truth. So do we clear the way for him today by simply recognizing that his will is done already, and that joy and peace belong to us in his eternal gifts. We will not let ourselves lose sight of them between the times we come to seek for them where he has laid them. This reminder will we bring to mind as often as we can. I seek but what belongs to me in truth. God's gifts of joy and peace are all I want. This is stunningly beautiful. I had I guess you could say a picture come to my mind, just a visual come to my mind a couple years ago as I was starting my process of coming to know who I am, and coming to know who did God uniquely create me to be versus who does everyone else say that I am, and who does everyone else want me to be. And in that process, I realized that I had been existing effectively as a non-person for the majority of my life. And as I was realizing that, I realized that I also had been effectively placing myself on an altar, like willing to die, willing to do whatever I needed to do for the sake of connection with other people. I was so horizontally focused, looking to the right and to the left. And honestly, there was almost like an obsession of sorts, trying to have connection with, at the time, my former husband, like wanting to do everything I possibly could to make him love me. And it got to the point where it was just so, it was a displaced altar. And I'm considering here, the very altar where God's gifts belong are peace and joy, and they're ours and they're free, and we don't have to die in the pursuit of achieving them. We actually never need to place ourselves on this altar, the altar of connection with God, the altar of connection with others, because those gifts of joy and peace and love are actually so much the mechanism by which we then connect with others. But first we get to receive them ourselves. And in our receiving, they then translate out through us to then form the connection with other people that is, man, that's a much and far greater bond and type of connection than the connection where we're dying along the way because we're wanting someone to love us so much, or we're wanting to be in relationship so much. So this concept of the altar is so often the concept of, okay, what needs to die? What needs to go in the place of what's there so that I can be in relationship with people, so that I can get what I want, so that I can have this dream of whatever it is that I'm chasing. And what's being said here is so radical because we don't have to actually do anything. It's already ours. It's already been given to us. And there's a humility actually in the concept of receiving. And and really there is a death required, the death of ego, the death of fear, in exchange for the love and joy and peace that's offered to us. But there has to be a willingness and an openness to even receive it in the first place, to recognize we don't have to pay a price because it is ours. It's our inheritance. God says, you are so loved, so chosen, so wanted, so desired, that this is your gift. This is your right as a child of God, as a son of God. And yet, in perhaps ego or perhaps fear, and I think it can differ for different people, we want to have done something to secure and earn our place, because then perhaps it's a desire for certainty. Perhaps it's a desire because we just don't believe it for ourselves. It's actually rooted in an unbelief that we are loved by God. So then why should we go and receive these gifts that he's giving us in this inheritance if we haven't done something grandiose or incredible to deserve it? And so with that, I really just want to camp out here for another minute longer. What do we believe about how God views us? If you were to close your eyes and imagine the creator looking at the created, what is his heart towards you right now? There was a moment 2 summers ago, it might have been three, where I had a moment where I had kind of a picture. I was driving, and there's this verse in the Bible that says he rejoices over you with singing and with dancing. And I was driving, and I just all of a sudden got this picture in my head of God dancing over me. And y'all, it was so, so bizarre. I felt angry. I felt like I felt repulsed by the idea of God dancing over me. And it was such a visceral reaction. Anytime I have a visceral reaction, I'm like, oh, there is something deep that I need to work through in this. And so I literally sat in my car and just moved through these feelings, like what is going on. And I pulled out my journal and I just started writing. And as I sat with that emotion, I realized it is like the height of vulnerability to it is the height of vulnerability to receive love that is freely given, especially when you've been hurt in the past by love. It's safer to be shut down and shut others out, including the God of the universe. Because if what I've experienced horizontally is love, then why would I want that love vertically? Which comes to our conversation yesterday of what is love? What is the definition of love? And that could very well be one of the most important questions of our lives, to consider what is love and what does love horizontally look like versus love vertically look like. And it was so funny. I was talking with my brother about this last night, and I'm excited. I'm going to have him come on here. He was telling me about what does the actual origin word of love in the biblical text mean. And so I'm excited for when he comes on. He was going to join me this morning, but I think it'll be the perfect time when he comes on, because y'all, we have to examine what is the reality, what is the truth of love. So when we say, I love you, or God loves me, or I love God, what are we actually saying? Because these words hold meaning. If we actually want to be operating from this posture of love, then what would it mean for us to embody it? And you know what? I'm going to call my brother, and I'm going to see if he can join us right now. I was supposed to be at my sister's last night, but I went to my Airbnb. Let's see if...
Sorry, the person you were...
No, he might be sleeping. Let's see.
I'm sorry, the person you were trying...
Darn, I think he's sleeping right now. Let me call my sister. Y'all, that we're on a hunt for my brother. But in the meantime, I'll just check here in the chats. Good morning, Man in the Hat. I'm so glad to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Pookie. You're live with me on the Knowing Show.
Oh, wow.
I was wondering if Jared is there. He was going to be on the show this morning, and I'd love to have him.
Let me go look. He wasn't awake, but let me go ask again.
Okay. Thanks. Do you have anything to say to anyone about love? The
about love?
Yeah, the love of God. Or you can come back to it.
Let me reflect. I'll reflect and I'll go talk to it.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
That's so funny. Wait a bit. I totally put her on the spot. Oops. Man in the Hat, good morning. Thank you. I will check my email. I just saw your note. The Gray Tone, good morning. I'm glad to see your name. Road 2, good morning. Thank you. The number one, wow, early bird gets the worm. I love it. Dilbert, good morning. John, Dominic, good morning. Cursed Hook, good morning. Leslie, oh, I love this. Leslie says, stay positive, do something good for someone today. Good morning, Stone Paladin. Good morning. You know, I will say we do talk about spiritual intelligence in the morning. We talk about emotional intelligence and intellectual intelligence, artificial intelligence in the evening. So feel free to join us then. Viking Lloyd, good morning. I'm glad to see you. Hung Win, good morning. Eric, I'm on page, what is ACIM? Or was that ACIM? Yes, that was A Course in Miracles that we read. Swain says, can I ask you some questions? Yes, you can. My sister just texted and said that they're sleeping, so that's all right. He and I were up late working last night on my uncle's slideshow for today. So Jamal, good morning. Jackery, good morning. Live to love, love to live. Oh, I love that. Ben Koss, good morning. I don't know if you're still there, but come hang out with us. All right, just looking through. Rick Liu, love is caring, love is trust. F8, 5K. Bank Top, I'm glad to see you. Looking through here. Which Greek love are you talking about, agape? Well, the love that I'm actually wanting to dive into, and I'm just trusting it will be the right time when my brother joins, is he was looking at the Hebraic version of love, or word of love, I guess you could say, which he was saying last night, and I'm going to butcher this. This is why I wanted him to come on. He was saying last night that the Hebraic word love is actually like the source that then feeds all the 7 Greek definitions of love, which made me so excited. And I was like, I want to learn about this. So he has done so much research into the origin words used in biblical text, which has just added so much dimension, because y'all, I really have struggled ever since my brother-in-law was killed. I have had a hard time walking into churches, not just because I don't have a trauma of crossing through the threshold, but rather sitting and listening to someone who has never experienced real pain, where they're talking from a place of what has been regurgitated from their own memorization or regurgitated from a classroom rather than felt and experienced and proven true in their own life through the knowledge and experience of the presence of God in their life in the midst of pain. I want to talk to those people. I want to know God at that level where it's like it is undeniable you have experienced and come to know something about God, and I want to learn from you. And so that's where, I'll gladly go into church, but it's often not something that's full of life and full of revelation and full of somebody who is really being taught by God. This concept of learning about God versus learning from God. It's like, oh, I can learn everything about my friend Leanna, or I could go to Leanna and learn from her about her herself. And there's very few people who do the latter when it comes to God, because it's easier to be told about something to memorize it and then live accordingly rather than to go and contend and question and engage. Again, it's a visceral way of living. It's a visceral way of, I am going to get my questions answered. I am going to engage with you. I'm going to engage with life. I'm looking outside, and this week being with family has been marked by a lot of kind of visceral engagement with physical activity and conversation and each other, just a lot of like hugging and loving on each other because it's been a hard time. And in that process, I am feeling closer to them than I have when we arrived. So in the visceral engagement, we actually come to a deeper place. And in that depth, we also broaden our own understanding because God is our teacher rather than the pulpit. That is I think the biggest thing is, who is our teacher? Is it vertical or is it horizontal? And so in this concept of I am realigning myself from operating based on the horizontal connection that I'm seeking and finding meaning in, that's deriving my worth, or am I going vertical and allowing God to be my teacher and allowing God to be the one that defines my worth and defines what love even means in the first place? Sammy, I'm so glad to see you. Um, please know Sammy is here. We're only pray to hear your voice for Sammy as you make such a difference. And Sammy is here now. Sammy, I'm so glad to see you. For those of you who don't know Sammy, he is a friend of the Knowing Show. He got on, gosh, 2 months ago at this point, and what happened to be the date of when he broke his neck and has been quadriplegic since. And Sammy, we just are so proud of you and fighting with you and cheering you on, my friend. I am so excited. I really mean this, Sammy. I'm so excited to see how you are going to use this situation and make the choice to create some good in your life as a result, to connect with other people. We had Bradley on the show the other day, and he has a leg amputated, and his heart now is for other amputees because he sees how meaningless their eyes are. Like, there's a meaningless void where they're like, what's the point? And so for him, his heart and his passion is amputees. What a specific, beautiful, like, it's like all of a sudden this desire to make an impact on the world goes, and you're so crystal clear, like, that's my target. These people, this situation, this topic, I now want to love on them. And now you can be so used because of your pain and thus propelling your passion for these people. And so, y'all, anything in our life that has just brought us to our knees could be very well the very thing that is what we're called to do, and who we're called to love. You know, I have such a heart for people who have grown up in the Christian church and have been so disillusioned by God. I have such a heart for people who um, gave their marriage everything and then it falls apart. And they really tried. Like, that's the thing. That's the difference. Is like, did you really assume radical responsibility? And are you willing to now? Because maybe you didn't then because you didn't know. Well, now, are you willing to know the truth? And are you willing to change as a result of it? So Sammy, I'm glad you're here. J Rock, good morning. Teddy Johnson, the great one. All right, Viking, grabbing my number one. Thomas, good morning. Hooked. Oh, thank you, great one. Great tone. I always say great one. I just like have in my head that what a compliment though. The great one. We'll go with it. But the great tone. Brian J, good morning. Devine, good morning. Thank you. Qasim, good morning. Thomas Kamna, good morning. Thank you. Devine says, how about scripture intelligence? That's interesting. I've never thought of that. That is such an interesting concept. I have to as a friend of mine would say, and I hate this phrase. I don't know why. It just makes me feel like a cringy. Do you guys get cringy when somebody says, I'm going to noodle on it? I don't know. That makes me cringy. But for all intents and purposes, I will do that with what you just said. Oh my gosh. Just Mo, great song lyrics. Oh my gosh. Tintin, good morning. Michael, good to see you. Light Free, good morning. Scrolling down. Sammy, yes, I'm here with my main nurse now. I'm here to say I'm grateful for your voice. I'm so grateful you're here, Sammy. And for those of you who are just joining, Sammy is a friend of the Knowing Show. Sammy, I would love to know if you ever have any of you, I actually haven't said this in a while, but if any of you guys have a topic that you want to discuss, please let me know. This has been a crazy 2 weeks. I guess we're going on the third week. That's a little crazy. I was in Texas traveling 2 weeks ago. Last week, we got the news that my uncle passed away. And so I flew to Maryland, and I'm still here, and the funeral is tonight. I fly to New Orleans tomorrow morning, and then I'll be flying again back home on Friday. And then thankfully the week after, I'm just home and my schedule's normal. So if you guys have topics, I really would love to hear what's on your heart and what's on your mind. And I'm super excited. YouTube officially gave us the Knowing community, or a community setting. And I didn't even know that that was a thing. So for those of you joining on Facebook and LinkedIn, if you guys want to hop over to the Knowing podcast on YouTube and come and join us, there's a chat going on. And we're going to be joining and doing a lot more on the YouTube side, which I'm super excited about. So let me go ahead and jump back here in the chat. Corey says, how do you know? Yeah, Jackery says, ahava, to give. Yes, something. Okay, so that's something my brother was talking about last night, and that's why I'm super excited to have him on. So I'm very excited for when my brother comes in. I think it's going to be such a good conversation. We had talked about tomorrow night, talking about continuing our conversation from yesterday evening about how to live a quality life and what does that actually really, really mean? Because every day we're making deposits. We're making deposits in the bank of each individual relationship. We're making deposits in our intellectual intelligence, making deposits in our soul, in our spirit. Every day we're making these deposits. And the compounding effect of every single deposit informs the life that we live. And that ultimately allows for us to then look back on our life and say, am I proud of the life I've lived? And so we really need to examine these deposits that we're making in every regard of our lives so that we don't wake up one day and just wonder, where did my life go? You know what I mean? I felt like I woke up when I was 28 years old, and I had allowed so much of, my entire life at that point to just be lived subconsciously and be lived on autopilot. And ultimately someone else was at the helm because I hadn't taken the time to consider, well, what are my values? What do I really, really believe? If I was going to be brave and question and contend, where would I land? And so in that process, over the last 4-5 years, ever since, there's been an awakening of sorts. And y'all, somebody said, what's this show about? It's about coming awake and coming alive to know what is the greatest potential for me to walk in to then achieve what I'm called and here to do. And ultimately, if we don't know what we're here to do, the best way to figure that out that I've seen is to identify what are the things that have really, really caused me a lot of pain. What are the things that really cause me a lot of joy? What are the things that make me angry? And those three questions have really helped me to come alive and recognize, oh my gosh, I never knew that I cared so much about X. Okay, how would that potentially move into or impact my calling? What would it look like for me to be intentional about living such a way? For example, Bradley, who he had his leg amputated, and now his heart and his passion is for other amputees. So where are you in your life right now? What has caused you a lot of pain in the past? What are things that make you angry? And what's really life-giving to you? So for me, it's the people who, well, not the people. I have a hard time when I'm engaging with somebody now who's not going to be telling me the truth. That's really, really hard for me. So that shows me I value truth. And then as I kind of follow that yellow brick home of like, okay, well, why do I care about that? And really leaning into the why question. Why does this make me angry? Why do I value that? Why does that bring me joy? Why did that cause me pain? Usually there's moments in life that really formed us that we haven't ever really given much weight to, or it's like pulling back the curtain like the Wizard of Oz and seeing, oh man, I didn't realize at that moment in time, that little story, that little experience formed me so much and impacted me so much. It could have even been the repetitive drips, like the death of a thousand cuts, where it just happened over and over and over and over. And man, that really formed you. That really created a value system in you to have a cause for justice or to care for people who didn't have food security. Whatever it is, there's so much meaning that comes on the other side of analyzing these questions. And the questions being, what do I value? What brings me joy? What makes me angry? And what has caused me pain? Those questions will most likely unearth in you and me a realization that, man, all right, like that could very well be the thing I'm called to. That could be the reason why I'm here and talk about alchemy, to take that which has caused us so much pain and turn it around and allow for it to become perhaps very redemption itself. So I think I'm gonna hop off now. I think we've had a wonderful morning. I'm so grateful for you guys. Yesu, good morning. Fender, TCB, Tarsu, Chronic, Lord Harry, good morning. Um, Light free. If I see any questions in here, I'll jump in. But otherwise, we'll just start wrapping up now. Simply blessed. Good morning. Um, Simply Blessed said, I would like to hear when you're speaking about how to live a quality life. When will you be speaking about that? So I'll be speaking about that tomorrow night. Tonight I'll be off actually for the funeral. So tomorrow night, let's say 9:30 Eastern. I'm going to be an hour behind because I'll be at an event. So 9:30 Eastern tomorrow night. And I'll schedule it out once I have clarity. For those of you on YouTube, I am going to figure out how to use the community channel to make posts. I don't know what it's going to be like for you on your end in terms of if you'll like get notified that I made a post. I don't know, but we'll figure this out. And so what I'll do is I'll make a post. Hopefully you'll get notified that I've scheduled it at either 9:30 p.m. or 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night, Wednesday. And then in the meantime, we'll go live again tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. Hold that thought. I'm flying tomorrow. It might not be 9 a.m. Eastern. It might be 10 a.m. Eastern. So I'll go ahead and schedule tomorrow. When is my flight? All right. I don't have a straight flight tomorrow, but that's okay. I think I have a layover in St. Louis. Oh, okay. Hold on. They're going to make me look all this up. All right. So I am flying tomorrow. It's a 6 a.m. flight. All right. And then, oh, no, I could probably do 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, but I'll schedule it. I'll let you know what time. So I will schedule when I know what my schedule is for tomorrow morning of when we're going to go live. And then also tomorrow night, where we'll talk about how to live a quality life, because these deposits we're making, this expenditure of our time, energy, attention, all of which amalgamates into a deposit into our each relationship bank, each bank of our own soul, spirit, self. And all of that is ultimately who we become. So, with that, have a wonderful day, my friends. Um, this is such an awesome opportunity to remember that today's lesson, I seek but what belongs to me in truth, and joy and peace are my inheritance. Y'all, we have access to hope. We have access to joy, to love at any moment, at any time. And any time we can actually tap into that. So if we want to move out of depression, if we want to move out of anger, if we want to move out of whatever it is that we're feeling, more than likely we actually need to move through it, understand why we're feeling that way, and then choose, make a choice. Am I going to claim what is mine? What is mine is joy and peace because of what's been secured for me in the love of God. So with that, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Sammy, I'm glad to see that you joined. And I will see you tomorrow morning. I'll go ahead and schedule that out. Arush, thank you for joining. T-Max, good morning. Thank you guys for hanging out. Big man, thank you guys. And I'll see you tomorrow.